there's one thing that I've purposely been avoiding to talk about a little bit. I've been talking about what happens when everything is over 3, and I've been talking about when stuff is generally unsafe or you have a slight disadvantage and a slight advantage. So what does that mean? I've kind of avoided talking about this section right here. The 0 to 2 and the 0 to -2. This section I've kind of avoided talking about because this is Street Fighter. This is Street Fighter 5 right here. This section is the most important section for Street Fighter 5. -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. That's basically where all of Street Fighter takes place. I said 3 in general is the magic number. If I hit you and I have over 3 on advantage on hit, I can generally combo. I can probably lead that into a combo. And if you have good hit confirms, you will. If I'm -3 or more, in general, I will be punished. Obviously, I've shown distance can be a factor, but generally, I will be punished. Now, at -1 and -2, or 1 and 2, what happens there? What is going on in this situation? And this is where frame data becomes very, very crucial. This is where frame data becomes something that you really do need to look at to understand properly. And the reason why for this is because of the concept of taking turns. We've talked about this a little bit. Flo has done a whole episode on this. He talked about taking turns as well. But taking turns is really important here. -2 and -1, +1 or +2 are the time period when very few things are guaranteed. I can't combo, I can't do a true block string, and I can't punish. Everything is unknown in those situations, so everything becomes about advantage or disadvantage, right? Let's talk about racing again. Let's go back to Toad, and let's go back to Bowser. The way that I really, really want you to start picturing -1 and -2, as I said, if I have Toad here, and he can run from point A to point B in 3 seconds, and I have Bowser here who can run from point A to point B in 10 seconds, what if I gave Bowser a 2-second head start? What if I let Bowser run 2 seconds first and then Toad runs? So now all of a sudden Bowser has a 2-frame start. So in other words, by the time Toad starts running, Bowser's already moved 2 frames, right? He's already run 2 seconds, I should say. So it's going to take him 8 seconds to get to the end. But guess what? Toad only takes 3 seconds, right? So he's just going to, even though Bowser has this advantage, I'm going to go, and that's it. Toad's going to get there, and you know what? It's still going to take 5 more seconds for Bowser to finish the race, right? Because Toad is just that fast in that situation. So this is kind of an interaction here. Think of him as the jab, and think of him as the fierce, right? If I make you block a move that's -2, so I did a move that's -2. So instead of giving Bowser a 2-frame start, let's penalize Toad 2 frames, 2 seconds. Let's move him 2 seconds worth of distance back. So now we start the race and they both start running. So because I was -2, and then it'll take me 2 seconds to get to point A, and then my standard 3 seconds to get to point B. It's going to take Bowser A to B 10 seconds. So now basically what I've done is I've added 2 seconds to my running time for Toad. So now it's going to take me 5 seconds to get over there. I'm still going to beat Bowser, no problem. Bowser's done, right? He's done. He can't beat me at all, right? That's what frame advantage is. After you block a move that's -2, now all of a sudden you've been penalized 2 frames. And so when you start to race, you have to start from behind a little bit. So obviously 3 and 10 is a really big difference. It's a really, really, really big difference here. Let's change that up a little bit. Takes him 3 seconds to run there, right? Now we have Mario. Mario's entering the picture in here, okay? Mario is going to take 4 seconds to run from point A to point B. Okay? Point A, it takes 4 seconds now. So now we've got Toad and we've got Mario. If they run, go! Toad there in 3 seconds. Actually, let's make Mario get there in 5 seconds. Let's make Mario get there in 5 seconds. Well, let me see. What do I want to do? I'm doing the math in my head. 4 seconds. So it's going to take him 4 seconds. So he's going to keep up with Toad pretty well, but Toad's going to get to the finish line before Mario does by 1 second. Okay? But now let's do this again. Let's actually penalize Toad 2 seconds again. So now it's going to take him a total of 5 seconds to get there again, but Mario is going to get there in 4 seconds. He's going to run that whole race in 4 seconds. So being penalized 2 seconds will make it so that I lose the race now. So I'm going to lose the race in that situation. So now so again, everyone's like, okay, James, you're playing with toys here. What's going on? Let me explain. So now, if you make an opponent block a move that's -2, and they're coming at you with a 4-frame move, even my fastest move, which is 3 seconds, is at a disadvantage now. I can't win. Because I'm -2, technically my 3-frame move, which was my fastest move possible, is now 5 seconds. So because I'm -2, my fastest move is now 5 seconds long. That's how you want to view it. So all of a sudden, your 3-frame moves are no good anymore. Because you're going to lose to anything that's 4 frames or faster. Right? Because you've penalized yourself like that. So if you're at -1 or -2, now that gets added to your startup time. Even though you're safe, even though you can't get punished, you have that slight disadvantage. And if the opponent comes at you with a fast move, you have to respect that move. There's not much you can do. Now let's flip it out the opposite way. Let's say that Toad wasn't penalized by 2 frames. He didn't do a -2 move. Let's say Mario did a move that was +2 in frames. Right? So instead, I'm going to let Mario run for 2 seconds, and then Toad's going to run for 3 seconds. Since he takes 4 seconds to get to the end, he's already run 2 seconds. By the time Toad starts, Mario only has 2 more frames to reach the end. Toad has 3 seconds to get there. Mario wins. Right? So it's kind of the same thing. -2 from the start line, +2 from the start line. Kind of ends up with the same thing. But that means if I know that I have a move that is +2 or +1, now the startup of my moves are faster. Because if I have a +2 and I do a 3-frame jab, now my move is technically only a 1-frame startup. Because my opponent is stuck for 2 frames when I can move. So I can do a 3-frame move, and now my move is technically 1 frame, because that's the only hole that he has to do anything.